The unit circle on the UV plane is given by u squared plus v squared equals 1. This allows us to label the arc with the letter x. These substitutions result in the following. For any point uv on the unit circle, the first coordinate u equals cosine x, and the second coordinate v equals sine x, where x is the standard arc on the unit circle from 1, 0, terminating at uv. Note x is measured in radians. Symmetry. If the point uv is in the first quadrant, then the following points are on the unit circle: negative uv, negative u, negative v, and u, negative v, in quadrants 2, 3, and 4 respectively. Symmetry with cosine and sine. If the point cosine x, sine x is in the first quadrant, then the following points are on the unit circle. In quadrant 2, we have negative cosine x, sine x. In quadrant 3, we have negative cosine x, negative sine x. And in quadrant 4, we have cosine x, negative sine x. If cosine x, sine x is in quadrant 1, then the following points are on the unit circle. Over here, we have cosine pi minus x, sine pi minus x. Over here, we have cosine x plus pi, sine x plus pi. And over here, we have cosine of negative x, sine of negative x. Now remember, for this point, for example, we're adding pi. Pi is 180 degrees. So to move from this point to this point, you would just add pi, and then you go 180 degrees around the circle. The standard arc t terminates in the first quadrant of a unit circle. Given sine t equals 4 over 5, sketch a unit circle and label t, sine t, and cosine t. What are the values of sine t plus pi and cosine t plus pi? We'll start out here with sine t squared plus cosine t squared equals 1. So we know that sine t is 4 over 5, so we can replace this with 4 over 5 squared. Then that squared is 16 over 25. We'll take 1 and subtract 16 over 25, take the square root, and we see that cosine t is positive or negative 3 over 5. So that gives us this point and this point. We can narrow it down because we see that it terminates in the first quadrant, which means we're looking for points over here, not over here. So that means that we're going with the positive cosine option, because the cosine here would be negative 3 over 5. And symmetry would show that you have another point over here that has sine t plus pi equals negative 4 over 5, and cosine t plus pi equals negative 3 over 5.